My name is Rosa Moreno-Zutautas, and I am the Global Director for Program Strategy and Partnerships at the IC3 Institute. I'm really happy today to give a sneak peek about the SQR, our Student Quest report, our historical report from 2020 to 2024, and our new findings from students who are graduating in the class of 2026 and 2027. We are here today with Florina, and I would love Florina to introduce herself.
Hello, I'm Florina Fernandes. I've been in education for the past 33 years now, and currently I am the principal of Ramniwas Bajaj School, which is a CISE school. And though I am an educator, career counseling is important for me because it concerns my students. It concerns their career choices, which determines their subject selection. And that for me is important right from a very young age at school. Yeah.
Thank you, Florina. We're so grateful to have you here because when we analyze the data of what we received in the Student Quest report, it is always really important what that means for a school and how that impacts how schools manage the career counseling program and the teachers are involved. So one of the first pieces that we found of data was related to the access students report having to career counseling. And so seeing that it was very high, the number of students who reported having career counseling at school, but not accessing the service. And at the other hand, that students were younger and younger starting to have the conversation. Our data was telling us that as of 12 and 13-year-olds are now starting to talk about themselves in the future. How have you seen this play out at your school?
So I have seen this. In fact, your data speaks about, there was one graph that showed me their influences. And I was very pleasantly surprised to see that obviously parent influences have always been there. But what has ranked below that has been the influence of the teachers,
Mhm.
not the career counselors. And that tells me that schools are making it a conscious effort to involve talks about careers right from a very young age. So, something that we do back in our
Mhm.
school, because we believe career counseling is not something that is kept for after grade 12, it's something that begins in middle school. So, right from grade 6, we've devised a program that is more about the child knowing about themselves. So it is a program that allows the child to understand the professions of their family members, understand who they are, their likes, their dislikes, their hobbies, their interest, because this will govern their decisions later. It may be
Mhm.
basic decisions about subject choices
Mhm.
in grade 9. But even that is very important because
Mhm.
those are your stepping stones to whatever you do later in life. And you need to have some knowledge about who you are and what you like. So we have this curriculum that we work on right from grade 6, and from interest and hobbies they go on to careers that they may be connected with. They do their own little research
Mhm.
and they get to know a little more. So
Mhm.
it is all about exposure. Yeah.
And you mentioned exposure, which is quite interesting because one of the things that the data is telling us is that students are asking different kinds of questions these days, and
Yes.
they're asking questions that are non-traditional to higher education
Yes.
representatives. One of these is the exposure to what they can do with their fields of study. So what we're
Yes.
seeing now that students are reporting at an early age that even though they're not quite certain of exactly what they want to pursue, there is an interest to study in an institution that will provide digital, virtual, embedded
True.
AI resources. and that also institutions have a strong and robust student service offering for them.
Yes.
So this is a factor that is unique to the recent trends. And it's interesting because it even surpasses the preference of students in looking out for a university in terms of their ranking.
Right.
So why would you think this is happening? And I think there are several layers to this question. Why are students seeing beyond the ranking? Why do you think students may be looking at alternatives that are different to the traditional fields? Why incorporating AI as a criteria for their selection? What would you say to that?
I think the main key is the exposure.
Mm-hmm.
The exposure created by schools, by career counselors, by the counseling team, because we very often heard that school counseling, career counseling can't function in a silo.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be done by one group, but it must be a shared responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
starting from all the teachers in school. And I think it is every school making a conscious effort
Mm-hmm.
that it is permeating down to every subject, and that's how we offer the exposure. While you were talking about interesting questions, besides students don't ask now which are the good universities. The kind of questions they do ask is which university will allow me to showcase my strengths, or where will I be able to use my strengths better. These are the questions they're asking. That shows me that they are more informed, and we always know the focus is not only on academic performance. They are asking about job opportunities, about a particular course. They are asking about internships. They are asking about facilities that various universities, even universities abroad, would provide them. So you see that the child is not just being led by peer pressure or peer influence, but it is so much of an informed decision that they want to make. And that is a very, very beautiful trend that I notice in students today.
Definitely,
Yes.
it is a shift in the trend. It's a
Yes.
change in how students perceive themselves in the
Yes.
future and how they make decisions about their post-secondary. Now, on the flip side, when we asked counselors about how they see the graduating class and counseling and their experience, what we saw was that counselors were sharing how their roles have changed, how they have shifted from supporting future readiness into the realm of wellness and social emotional support and learning.
Yes.
And part of it could be due to the fact that the class of 2026 they were middle schoolers when COVID hit.
Yes.
And this could still be part of that backlash of not being able to acquire those social development in that very important age, and then seeing that as a need or a requirement. So what we're seeing is that students are asking universities, what are your mental health support services look like? What are the hours for your drop-in clinics?
Yes.
How can I tap into any activity that will promote my well-being?
Yeah.
And that could be related to that particular age, or it could be to a raise in awareness from students. What would you say to that?
I definitely would say it's a raise of awareness about themselves. What is it that they need? What is it that they're feeling? And, last year, having been to a few universities in the country, I also noticed that universities are ready to provide this. So they are not ready only with an academic rigor, but they are more than ready to cater to the mental well-being of the child. And I saw those facilities available, and that is very heartening. I'm sure as a career counselor, students come to you now with fewer questions and probably more about what they need and how you could provide services, right, that could match their needs. I'm sure a few years back they would approach you with questions like, what should I do now? And
I think you have a point there.
yeah,
The kind of questions students are posing may be what is influencing what the college counselor's role is
yes,
nowadays. The questions are more about the potential beyond graduation.
right,
And one of the things that we did notice in the data is that the question could be in terms of what entrepreneurial aspect of what I am
true,
studying I can walk away from with this program. So
definitely,
that's a new element from the class that came in the historical review of the 2020-24. Students are more and more asking themselves, not exactly what can I do with English, but how can I make a business out of
yes,
English? How can I be independent in my work through this particular field of study? So there's a great deal of independence
definitely,
and perceiving themselves working in a different capacity to the ways of work of their parents. So
definitely.
students have that awareness as well. So another final question that we would like to refer to was regarding the destinations of if students were changing and shifting the mobility of the destinations. And we found that for the most part, students would choose to stay in home countries
Right.
in the same way that they had been staying traditionally. However, there was an increase in the variety of opportunities that they would select from for those who would pursue studies abroad. It looks like the top countries still remain Canada, US, and
Yes.
UK. I mean, and I express them in no particular order, but they remain the same. However, we're seeing more and more areas or countries that we hadn't seen before. We've seen a little bit more of Netherlands start
Yes.
to appear, of Singapore as destinations, right? And this
Yes.
is globally. Have
Yes.
you also seen
I've
this?
noticed that. In fact, when I speak with parents, I hear them talk about destinations like the US and Canada and Australia.
Mm.
But when I speak with students, they are now talking about Finland, Spain, Japan.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about all these countries, Singapore also.
Mm-hmm.
So, this shows me a very beautiful change that now children are more tuned to what new is being offered. The parents haven't changed. So, I see that influence, especially
Uh-huh.
amongst the Indian students.
Mm-hmm.
They are moving away from being dominated by their parents' aspirations and choice to what they really want. We still have a few students who are being guided or rather dominated by their parents'
Mm-hmm.
decisions,
Mm-hmm.
but there is an equal number of students
Mm-hmm.
who, given the right exposure, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what schools need to do. We just need to give them that exposure and leave it to the students to then explore. And I see that happening among students, and they are ready to go out and find more. They're also talking about now financials
Mm-hmm.
because that is something they are being very, very conscious about whether the family financial situation would match up
Mm-hmm.
or would be able to cater to
Mm-hmm.
their study abroad or even in the country.
Mm-hmm.
They are more tuned to that.
And that's
Yeah.
really important what you mentioned in terms of students. I'm curious when you said the word alignment. It came
Yeah.
to me when you were saying about students and parents not necessarily looking at the same destinations.
Yes. Yes.
It brings me to the data points that we were finding misalignments with the counselors.
Yeah.
So and this is really regarding the use of artificial intelligence in the
Yes.
career counseling process. So we're seeing when you're asking counselors, that they are indicating that students are using artificial intelligence more towards the writing of essays. And there's no discussion that they are being incorporated in that sense. When you ask the student about this, the students are telling us, we are using artificial intelligence to explore careers, to explore the new ways of work, and to find those emergent fields of study. So there's a misalignment there about the perception students would have, the perceptions the students are saying, and the perception of their counselors. That's an interesting point that we saw there. And another piece was that the students were saying, for us, the entrepreneurial piece is very important.
Yes.
This is something that we didn't hear from the counselors expressed in that way.
Yes.
So we know we can talk more and more, and we would love to have more episodes on the Student Quest report. This year, we just decided to have a sneak peek in this podcast. We will be releasing a lot more details in specific areas of student destinations, mobility, interest, factors that influence, and even the trusted sources that students are now looking into. I would like to thank you, Florina, from the bottom of our heart.
It was lovely sharing my views and seeing the beautiful change in our student community.
We're making a difference.
Yes,
Thank
definitely.
you, Florina.
Definitely. Thank you.